Also tonight, they were voted out of office last year, but now they're waiting for the Senate to vote them in to jobs in the Trump administration. Kevin Fry in our Washington, D.C. bureau has been tracking the fate of 3 former Republican members of Congress from New York as they seek to join the Trump team. He's got more in this report.
A familiar face on the other side of the hearing table on Capitol Hill.
We will go after waste, fraud, and abuse, not in press releases, but in results.
Former Nassau County Congressman Anthony D'Esposito is one of 3 one-term Republican congressmen from New York who lost re-election last year, now awaiting confirmation by the Senate for jobs in the Trump administration. President Donald Trump picked D'Esposito to serve as Inspector General for the Department of Labor, Hudson Valley Republican Mark Molinaro to be Federal Transit Administrator, and Brandon Williams, who represented the Syracuse area in Congress, to be the Undersecretary of Energy for Nuclear Security. Publicly available data suggests all 3 roles have a salary in the ballpark of $200,000. Last month, at his confirmation hearing, D'Esposito, who was not shied from repeatedly criticizing Democrats on his social media account since exiting office, was pressed on the president's decision earlier this year to fire several inspectors general.
Do you support his doing it without providing the required statutory notice to Congress?
I support that the American people elected President Trump to lead this country, and if President Trump decided, if I was confirmed, to dismiss me, I would understand.
That answer, the notion that you work for the president and not the American people in an inspector general's role, is a concerning answer.
If confirmed, Williams, a Navy veteran who served on a nuclear submarine, would oversee the federal agency responsible for maintaining the nation's nuclear stockpile. In April, Democrats pressed him on news that, as part of the president's cost-cutting initiative known as DOGE, several employees of that agency were abruptly let go. The firings were eventually halted.
If confirmed, I will speak up for the men and women of the NNSA and advocate for them. I think we know how critical they are to restoring our nuclear deterrence, our nuclear weapons enterprise.
In heading the Federal Transit Administration, Molinaro would oversee an agency that gives financial and technical help to local public transit systems, from buses to ferries. At his confirmation hearing in March, Molinaro likened public transit to the circulatory system of the economy.
Will you commit to dispersing all of the already approved funding and the remaining funding consistent with how it was authorized by Congress?
The president and the secretary have asked me to advocate on behalf of transit systems across this country and the riding public. And so my expectation is to advocate for the disbursement of contracted and obligated awards.
All 3 nominations remain pending on Capitol Hill. 1 still in committee, the other 2 awaiting approval from the full Senate. So far, we've been provided with no firm timeline on when we might see the full chamber vote on their nominations. In Washington, Kevin Fry, New York 1.